It is now 3 o'clock on the East Coast, and we will start in about 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, this is Greg Stumpf. I'm with MDL, and I'm stationed in Norman, Oklahoma at the National Weather Center. I work closely with NSSL folks, but I'm on the decision support branch of MDL, and I'm the new, as of last month, Virtual Laboratory Project Community Owners Meeting Facilitator. So I'd like to welcome you to the September meeting, and the agenda is up there on the screen right now. Wanted to see if Steve Smith is available with Laura in 10300, so I'll go ahead and unmute Laura and take it from there. Hello, Laura, are you there? Or Steve? Laura, are you there? I hear someone on the other side. Okay, we'll go ahead and I think since we've got Jim Ledoux and Justin Gibbs already available and waiting to do their community spotlight on the Warning Decision Training Division, we'll go ahead and hand off control to them, and they'll go ahead and give a demo. This is a revisited demo since they provided one about 6 to 8 months ago, but there's been a lot of activity on their community, so we'll go ahead and get them started. And I'm going to go ahead and change presenter over to them. Okay. And Jim, looks like you're going to have to unmute yourself because I can't unmute. Jim, we cannot hear you. And for some reason, webinar is not allowing me to unmute you. It looks like you have to unmute yourself. There we go. Jim, you're on now.
Okay, that was audio controls. It's a little feature that the IDSS conference presenters did not know about either, but audio control, we found it. Okay, so let me just quickly just discuss what we've been doing. We have been on 6 to 8 months ago, and we're still learning how this site is going to be integrated with our plans. And there's two things that we want to do in the future, and I'll talk a little bit about what we have been doing. What we have been doing is we've actually kind of forced our students, especially for the Advanced Warning Operations course, to enter into the VLab forum during what we have is a severe weather challenge. It's basically a contest where our students go in, pick a spot during the next 24 hours where they think severe weather is going to be, and then they write an AFD. We will comment on the AFDs in the forum, as well as sending them specific information, so you can see all sorts of different forecasts, and then they go ahead and pick up and view what those examples are. So that's essentially what it is. Some of it is basically just informational, and others a little bit more so. What we are going to do, and what we'd like to do, is eventually get start adding some reference materials, such as our MRMS reference guide. That we hear that the VLab is going to be integrated into AWIPS 2, so that we can get the information up there. And the reason why, I'll tell you, is that we wanted to import the reference guide direct into one of the servers, but the server that we wanted to have it on there did not have PHP, and our reference guide is a PHP base, so we're looking to see what we can do as a workaround to get that in. We do understand one of the other servers has PHP, but we haven't been able to get on that yet. So that's a goal of ours. And another goal is to start working on just-in-time training. Now, just-in-time means literally working our training into, I would say, recent events or events as they are ongoing, and then put that up for people to look at, and we could announce it. And I have Justin Gibbs here, who has just come on board with us in the past year, formerly out of WFO in Brownsville. And he's kind of taken this off quite a bit, putting threads into a forum to point out wanting decision-making activities as they've recently happened. I'm going to let Justin talk about what the motivation is and strategy that we've been doing here.
Yeah, we do laugh at the fact that Justin is doing a lot of the just-in-time training. It's easy to keep up with who's who's doing what. So what we've got here is I start threads because I found it was a little bit easier to organize the material. Is what I would call I guess sort of a prototype or beta for kind of how we want to go in the future. First thing I had to do was establish a way to do this in a manner that wouldn't eat up too much time. We don't have tons of time, but we wanted to get feedback to the field as far as positive warning decisions, and we wanted to do it in a way that was private, to NOAA employees only. We didn't want to be talking about it on our Facebook page or anything like that. And the VLab seems to provide a pretty good venue for that. And I can show you, the most recent one. We're updating it pretty frequently, but we've been getting eat up with a deliverable here the last couple of weeks. But just some screen captures, very simple. It rained in this area. They issued this product. They updated it with these good evocative flash flood statements, and this was the end result. They provided however much lead time that they provided. I was also praising some of these very small basin-based flash flood warning polygons for their use, and I was actually looking at that in real time. Usually I'll grab the images or the data and look at it the next day to kind of give the event some time to play out. But this was an event where I addressed a blog entry where the Birmingham office had actually had a missed event, and the blogger was a little bit overdramatic for what was a relatively minimal tornado, but pumping up the importance of the fact that we have to have science behind our decisions, because in the current era we're going to be criticized when we make errors or perceived errors, and just talked a little bit about that. And you can see that that's sort of the trend that's been followed for all of these events. Sometimes I'll put several events in one thread. I just sort of try to keep them spaced out to where one thread doesn't get too long. But I've been pretty happy with the way that the content is organized and developing. I've been a little less happy with some of the traffic that we've got. We haven't really figured out a way to promote this yet and make folks aware that it's here. But that's partially by design. I wanted to get where I was happy with the process and how long it took, and knew I was going to be able to keep it up long term before we really started drawing traffic into the site. But this has been included as part of time has been allocated for this for the upcoming for this training year that we're currently in. So we'll be able to keep this up, especially during the peak of convective season. And the interface works out pretty well. I'm up for suggestions as far as organizing the data and organizing the images. I've been using a third-party image storage for now, and I'm wondering if there's a better way to do that. But I've been starting to get in a rhythm with it and feeling pretty happy about it. And again, the NOAA password requirement is nice, because talking about warning decisions, we can do it in a manner. Hopefully, the end game is that this grows into an open forum and discussion where folks are talking and thinking about warning decision making outside of actually practicing the warning or practitionerizing, I guess, to make up a word, in the warning decision capacity, and just sort of a lobby, so to speak, for that. But if not, we're going to continue to show good decisions and get that content out there. And we expect that once we start promoting it, that we'll grow our audience a little bit. We've already added about 30 members to our community of folks that were curious, that were just in my circle, that I pointed to the blog. So, and it's also nice that we've got the ability to subscribe to the thread. So you'll get an email. Everybody in the division gets an email each time we put a new blog out. So it sort of pushes the content to the user too. Jim, you have anything else you want to?
Excuse me. I think that's about it.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I've just been trying to hold off the cost.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we're done here, Greg.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody, if this will work. Let's see. Okay, I will have to apologize to everyone. The unmute all button doesn't seem to be working for me. I've never used Webinar before. I'm used to using GoToMeeting, and this panel is apparently very different. So I'm going to ask if Steve Smith is out there. I'm able to unmute his phone. He wasn't able to say something at the beginning of the meeting, but he's unmuted now. Steve, if you have any words you want to say, now is your chance.
Can you hear me, Greg?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. All right. So, yeah, thanks. We are having a little technical difficulties back here as well. Now, just to say, this is very interesting, and I appreciate Jim and Warning Decision Training Division for making the effort to explore the tools and try to make them real for the business that we're all involved with. One of the things that for today's session, I think coming up pretty soon is, there was the pseudo conference 2 weeks ago, and so all the SUs were here in Maryland for a week-long get-together, face-to-face, and it's clear that they represent a very strong and powerful community within Weather Service that we're encouraging them to make use of the VLab as a sort of facilitator of their real community. So this question of community is really important for the VLab, and I think we're always searching for ways to try to better enhance what that means. And of course, but the bottom line is there's got to be a group of real people beneath any virtual community. But one of the things that we're trying to do, we got encouraged to sort of rush this to production, was what you're going to see soon, this idea of creating user profiles within the VLab. And the idea behind that was one of the potential big resources for the VLab is that if the members sort of share what their expertise is, professional or otherwise, that we could search the VLab for experts in various areas and locate those folks, whether it was for the point of collaboration or sharing information or looking to get a question answered. So we did implement that, and that's going to be a Life Ray demo coming up soon. But my point is, in the larger picture, we're always looking for ways to try to grab and enhance this elusive commodity called community. What does that mean in a virtual sense, and how can we make it better? It's sort of a moving target, and there's all sorts of new social media things rolling out every other day that can be used to enhance this. But needless to say, we're committed to doing that. So if you have, ideas about how the VLab could be better presented to tackle this idea of community, we'd love to hear those. So I think that's about it, Greg. So I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Steve. First of all, Steve, while you're on, do I sound loud and clear to you this time?
Perfectly clear.
All right, good. I've made some changes here on my end. I don't see Ken Sparrow on the list of attendees right now, and he usually talks about what's new in the VLab, unless he's hidden under one of these other users.
He might be under the organizer or...
Yeah, I just unmuted both organizers. One of them is me. So, Ken, if you're out there...
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Great. Do we need to get the keyboard and mouse to you, or the presenter to you?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. Okay, I think I'm able to do that.
Yep.
And we'll go ahead and... Okay, and I want to show you, move this over there. Okay, so some of the things that we're up to, and I'm trying to, and this is one thing that we had originally, it's called What's New, and I think that it's warranted again, that there's plenty of activity going on within the virtual lab. So what I've been doing is I've been going through and I've created a new area in which not only do we have the science sharing documents, which is starting to pick up again after the CDO conference last week, but also a new communities section. And so you can come here and you can keep abreast of new communities that have been added. I've been adding those today. And as new community are added to the system, we'll add small web content so that people can keep abreast of that. I've also got a spot for new development service projects. I haven't had a chance to enter those in yet, but I can tell you it's been very busy on the community side. But this will give you a way to come in, check on, keep abreast of what's happening. And so, starting last month, there were some requests for living with extreme weather, and you're feel free to go out to the What's New page in the VLab, and you can get more information on these communities. There's Tropical Meteorological Working Group, SBN Info, the NWS UAS community, Vortex SE, and then there are also 7 additional communities which I haven't filled in yet, but basically some of those I'll just highlight them. The HRR, the model, dealing with that, Golden Triangle Initiative, a Polar Community, and then an OR&R, that's Collaborative Group for Project Managers, Web Developers, and Divisional Points of Contact. There's also a Near Storm Environment Awareness Project, and I'm sorry, not project, but community. And then lastly, a risk model was the last one that was actually requested yesterday and created. So like in the last week, we've had, I think, 8 different new communities. So I think a lot of that is pick up from the pseudo conference. On the development services side, the latest was we're using it with an MDL itself. There's NCEP is getting engaged in terms of they've got a pilot project to look into using Virtual Lab for not only the community side, but or mostly the project or development services side, and specifically they're looking at, with our help, using Git to manage the model data. So that's potentially a very large project. NDFD, there's a new project supporting development of NDFD. OPC Web is a new project there that's being handled by over at NCEP, the product management branch, and those are some highlights of new projects and communities. Like I said, we will keep this page up to date so that people can get the latest information. And in the future, I'll just be able to point you. We can look at this. Other things that are taking place, it was mentioned earlier that we're working to make VLab available from within AWIPS. And so that's moving along. The RC request for change was formally submitted this week, and we'd already gone through the process of making sure that it would be approved by the AWIPS security folks, and that took some effort. So that should be good. The only limitation from the AWIPS network will be that you're not going to be able to download like RPMs and things like that, just for security reasons. But collaboration services, development services should be available. And as soon as hopefully next month at this meeting, we'll be able to say that that's all good and available. So I haven't got a sense of timing of when it would be implemented, but it is being fast-tracked. So that's there. There's been some work on the NOAA project repositories to improve that, and so we've got some changes that are ready to go out there in that area. And we've begun some work on an ideas marketplace for Eastern region, so we're starting that in earnest. And then on the process side, there's been work that's taken place in terms of a VLab improvement team. There's also a prioritization group that's looking at prioritizing the different tickets and requests that we get. So that is going in concert with the improvement team. And then I guess those are some of the highlights. So if there are any questions for me, I guess you can raise your hand and we hopefully would be able to unmute you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ken. I see one raised hand from Ken Johnson, but it's from a long time ago. I'm going to go ahead and unmute him just in case he has something to ask. Ken Johnson, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. I got Brian Maretsky here. He actually has a question. There's a question related to the first presentation. I don't know if Jim and Justin are still on, but there's a WDTD community now. How is it being advertised? Who is it being advertised to? What's the eventual goals of it? The way Justin kind of showed it, maybe kind of an internal type of forum blog. Is there any other goals? No?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we're right now just playing around with seeing how much time it takes from all our tasks to do the things we want to do on here. For our AWOC students or other students, we assign them. We basically assign them to the community so that they work it, and they have to actually go through and we use the forums, so it's much more targeted there. For the just-in-time training, I think we're open to ideas. We haven't made this official because once we do, then there will be a certain obligation to keep it up. And so it's not something that we say that that we are putting it officially into our task matrix at this point. I think down the road, if we are interested in advertising,
Yeah.
it's an episodic thing. It's not a regular, expect a new entry every day kind of thing.
that's the challenge that we face too, is that we tend to promote things through our DLOC or now be RAC students that we bring in. We pump them with stuff that the latest and greatest stuff, and then we tell them, take this back to the office and share it and get that spread. And we feel like we could probably spread the pointed out and the just-in-time training that way, and also via our Facebook page where we've got a decent following and other social media outlets. But it's still going to be a little bit of an uphill climb, I think, for us to really build it to its full potential, to where we have a big audience that's really benefiting from this and really engaging and looking at what we've got and critiquing it and evaluating it and providing feedback, and where folks are discussing warning philosophy and polygonology and all of that, which is ultimately the goal. It's just going to be a little bit of a challenge as far as figuring out exactly how to get everyone to do it, because it's a pull the information the platform for us, really, rather than a push. We're not reaching to the forecaster. They're having to log in and come to us, which is okay, but getting them to do that is going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, what you said, Jim and Justin, you're kind of still exploring, so that's fine. I would think that as you go maybe move forward from the exploration phase, that you hitting your normal training contacts in the SSDs to start thinking about what the utility is and how to best get everyone involved, if that's the way to go. That would be the way to kind of move this forward. Otherwise, it will kind of always be ad hoc, and probably needs to be some sort of guidelines set and stuff like that. So, but obviously,
yeah,
that it's still more exploration, so that's understood.
And I could see this, down the road, in other courses that are going to have a just-in-time component, especially what we're planning for GOZAR training, that we'll have to pick a site, a venue, and that's the one we announce for everybody to look through. But I think definitely it's going to have to be announced outside of this. I mean, anybody that's subscribed to this will get notification based on if they prefer to get a notification. But that's not going to be everybody, and for a lot of these things we want to post it to the public, and so we need another way to announce it. And that could be through the SSDs, or it could be through various SUE lists or anything like that. But I'd be willing to entertain what you think, and I think you have a good suggestion.
Okay, all right. Stay in touch on. That's all. Thanks.
That'd be great.
All right, thank you very much. If anyone else has another question, either for Jim and Justin or Ken Sparrow, please raise your hand in the next 10 seconds. Otherwise, we're going to move on. Okay, I see something from John Eyes. I'll make sure that's okay. All right. Before we move to the next thing, I like to intersperse the fast facts and throughout the agenda. So the first one having to do with weekly maintenance of the VLab. Some of you probably have seen this before, but the VLab is running on the IDP virtual machine farm at NCEP right now, and most of the larger projects that are running on that web farm, on that IDP farm, actually have a mirrored component to them. So there's actually two instances of the project. So there's actually two instances of the VLab, both collaboration services and developmental services on the IDP. So on Tuesdays, they usually switch over from one instance to the other on the machine. So what we have to do from the VLab technical side is before they do that, we have to go ahead and switch over, failover is what it's called, the VLab from away from the side that they're about to patch. So we usually do that on Monday nights. We usually do that around 9 p.m. on Monday nights. And during that time, for about maybe 30 to 60 minutes, the VLab, both sides will go down for maintenance while this process happens. I actually was the one who did it this week. It only took me about 15 minutes to get through the whole process on both sides, but you'll see occasionally during those times you'll see a slight outage, but it's usually very, very short. So anyway, we are going to now connect to Laura Cotray. Are you out there? You're unmuted.
Yes, I'm here, Ken.
Okay.
Greg.
Okay. So Laura's going to talk about populating your profile page on the VLab. I'm going to go ahead and make her the presenter so we can see her screen. And there it is right there. So
okay.
Take it away, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Like Steve mentioned, it was the intent of the VLab initially to foster collaboration among the employees and partners. The VLab support team developed a portlet that lets users search for other collaboration services users based on descriptions, categories, areas of expertise, or areas of interest. In order to do this, the users will tag themselves or categorize themselves as experts through the user profile portlet. You would use the relevant work skills or interests such as verification, storm surge, decision support, so that the other users in the VLab collaboration services will be able to find you. So for the demo, you can see my screen. I will go to my name, I go to my profile, and I added tags already, but I can show you how to add the tags through the edit profile choice. If you want to, you can add something about your hobbies right here. Say salsa lessons. If you want to do something like that, save that, and you can also add the categorizations, the tags. You can select topics from the NWS or you can add some topics yourself. And then if you save these choices, other users will be able to find you if they're looking for those things in the user search, find an expert. Maybe I want to find someone in, I'm interested in rip current. So I see Mike Cherma came up, other people as well. I can contact these users if I'm interested in those areas. This functionality previously existed under the My Accounts, but maybe it was not easy to see. So with a profile in the front, you can see it's easily accessible, and this will encourage more collaboration. So I guess the only question, if there are any questions, you can ask now. Some people may say, well, find an expert. So how do you know that person's an expert? You can declare yourself to be an expert in certain areas. If you need to work with someone, or that person may have an area of interest for future working together. Are there any questions about the profile or their user search.
And if you have a question, use the raise your hand feature, and I'll go
And
ahead and
if not,
unmute.
okay. And Tatiana will give a small demo about the blocks.
One second. We have a question from Steve Smith. Steve, you're unmuted. Go ahead. Steve Smith, you are unmuted. Your hand is raised.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So just to reiterate what Laura said, thank you, Laura. We decided to go very simple and basic with this, and encourage people to sort of make it a light lift to enter in some basic information. And you can see that right away with this find an expert search that it could be quite an effective tool if everyone that's currently in the VLab, and we have I guess we have over 1,000, close to 2,000 users now. Were to do that, it could be quite a powerful database within NOAA for finding various expertise. So I really want to encourage everyone and their VLab friends to go ahead and put the basics in this profile, and this tool will grow, increasing value in its use as we go along. And again, if we have suggestions about how to make this better, there are other pieces of functionality. We didn't want to make this sort of like a Facebook sort of thing, although that is possible within the LifeRay framework. We're really trying to focus on the professional expertise. But we're open to suggestions. Again, this is one of the things that falls under kind of a social media sort of category, but we're trying to tailor it to the benefit of our R&D community within NOAA and within Weather Service in particular. So that's just my comment, and I'll put my hand down.
Okay, we've got another hand up. John Eyes, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Greg. Hey, I would say let's socialize it a little bit. Let's make it like Facebook. I mean, people want to be able to talk back and forth about things. I think that's one thing we're kind of missing at the moment, is the ability to talk to each other in real time if we want, or have some ability to do that at least. I would think that would be an excellent thing to be doing.
Yeah, so am I still on?
Yes, you are. I can hear you.
Yeah. Hey, John. So one thing thanks for that feedback. But we do have the chat feature. Who's running the show? Can somebody show John? There we go.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that sometimes people like to be on a chat room, as it were, and everybody can see what everybody else is saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Or they type something in and it's there if somebody wants to go back and see it later.
Okay.
So, yeah, a little more interactive. I think that would be pretty cool, actually.
All right, good. Well, that's the type of feedback we want. If because we're without that user feedback, we're not quite sure whether we're hitting the mark or way off or near the target. So John says lean into the social interactive part of it. Thanks.
We'll call it I don't know, lab book. I don't know. Just don't call it litter or vitter or something.
Okay.
So we got Tom Filiaggi has his hand up too. So Tom, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Just a quick comment about the chat ability. I have been working on a project recently where we needed to think about avenues of communication, and it seems that a lot of at least Weather Service folks in operations are accustomed to that chat functionality. And having it be absent from VLab might be an issue, and if it is there, it might draw more people into using VLab as the one place, the one area to manage all of your communication. If we can have some sort of a chat room per community or something along those lines, it would be worth exploring, I think.
There was a social media community. I'm not sure exactly what they do. Greg?
Hello. Sorry, I was muted. Is Tatiana with you right now, Laura?
She's at her desk. You'll have to unmute her.
Okay, I can unmute her. I'm not sure I'll be able to share her screen though. So Tatiana, you're on and unmuted.
Okay. Then if you can share my screen, Laura, can you go to your oh, here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the blogs, and actually, the blog is just as powerful as you want it to be, because it's only useful if you really use it, or if a lot of people use it. We put this blog here in your profile, because sometimes you belong to a lot of communities and you just don't. You have a little bit of everything, but you don't know where that belongs. So this will be a very useful tool for you, because you can just, when you initially started, this is empty, so you'll have to add blog entry, and then to just create your blog. You can just change date and just input everything you want to, just like any other blog. If you've used any blogs on the web, it has the same capabilities. The only thing is that here you can control who can view it, so you can open it to everyone or just make it private. But we encourage you to have it open to everyone and anyone, when by anyone is anyone who has access to VLab. Like it won't be accessible by anyone outside VLab. It's not public. So you can, as any other blog, you can just add your description, and then this is a feature what we have, in several portlets that you can change the non-strategic goals, add tags, and just publish. And when you have your blog, people can start following you by subscribing. What this means is that every time you enter a blog or a content or modify something significant, they will get an email and will be notified that you added something. And this is, you can encourage your friends, or if we open it to more social, you could probably just let your group know that you added content that might be of interest of only a certain group of your community. So this will be very useful for you. I don't know, are there any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, this is also searchable. So as people start putting more and more blogs, it will be more useful. But right now, since it's empty, I'm not gonna get anything, because we just started and no one has entered blogs. But we hope this will change over time.
Okay, thanks, Tatiana. John, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
No, what I found was interesting is at the bottom of, I noticed that too, because I just put something on my blog and just to test it, and it was like, oh, I can post this on Twitter or Facebook or Google Plus. I thought, oh, that's very interesting.
It's great.
But I didn't know if but we don't, for VLab, we don't have any particular presence though on Twitter or Facebook anywhere, do we?
For VLab?
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just thought it was interesting it was there, though, all the same.
Okay, Tatiana. Any other questions before we move on? All right. So thank you very much, Tatiana and Laura. Let me go ahead and switch back over to me. All right. So what I've got up here now is one of the very first things that was developed for the VLab almost 3 years ago now, something called You Make the Call. And I thought this was kind of timely because it kind of sort of is similar to what WDTD is doing with their community on the VLab as well. And essentially what we did on here was create a number of different scenarios, morning decision scenarios. I'm going to click this first one here. And on there is actually questions and things like that that can be answered with these specific things here. I bring this up because it's been around for a while. There hasn't been an entry to this for almost 3 years now. And I thought this would be good to kind of start a discussion as part of the roundtable. And then if there's no interest in talking about it, we can talk about anything during the roundtable. So what I'm going to do right now is do my best to unmute Jim. I'm going to unmute Jim. Are you still there, Jim, by the way?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay. So if anybody would like to raise their hand and say something related to this or anything else, go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and unmute you, and you can have the floor. So we're now into the roundtable discussion part of our meeting. So I'm seeing a few questions on here. Let me see if those are... So we had a question from Daniel Melendez. He asks, I'm going to go ahead and I'll unmute Laura and Tatiana as well. Daniel asks, can members of a group be notified by email from the VLab when an entry in the blog happens? So Tatiana, do you have an answer for Daniel?
Oh, yes, sorry, I was mute. Yes, they will, but they have to subscribe to the blog. If you go to your blog, once a blog or a content has been entered, on the upper right side, you will see a subscribe tab or link, and then you just click on it, and from that point on, you will get not an email if someone inputs the...
Okay, so I went ahead and I went over to my blog, my profile page, and highlighted where that subscribe link is. So.
Yes, thank you, Greg. Yeah, so you just click there, and then you will be following that blog.
Okay, Steve, your hand is raised. Go ahead. Steve, you are unmuted.
Yeah, okay. You should be able to hear me now.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think we're looking into a way to be able to an application to that would allow say blog owners to subscribe people. Is that correct, Tatiana? We're looking into that?
I'm not sure of... I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
it's not on...
maybe I'm confused about that, but okay.
Steve said he must be successful in this.
Yeah, that's...
I know that as a project, as a community owner, you can subscribe people to blogs and to other contents, but I'm not sure about if my personal blog will apply to that.
Okay, Ken, were you going to say something?
Yeah. So basically, what we do have in place is there is a message board, which is the forums. You can manage that. We're looking at improving it. There's also we are looking into the ability to automatically subscribe. When someone joins the community, to have them automatically be subscribed to the forums within it. And that would ideally be an option for the community owner to set up. But we hadn't, as of yet, considered doing anything with the blogs. So I think that's something that probably, if it falls into the same categories, so in other words, if a community is using blogging to be able to get experts' opinions and information out there, I suppose logistically that might be a nice to have if there is our community blogs that you'd want to make those available. So if that's a requirement, provide that as feedback to us, and then we can look into adding that as well.
Okay, so the other thing I was going to say was with regard to the you make the call, which Greg, I'm glad Greg took the opportunity to bring that topic up. So a little history, Pete Wolf, I think he's the Sioux in Tallahassee. He was on the ground floor with the VLab and was the main promoter along with Jason Deese of the You Make the Call. And the intent originally for that capability was as a tool for the Sioux to develop these sort of quick trainings that would be accessible through the VLab, and that people would upload other little modules, and it would sort of be a kind of training sharing site, if you will. And we promoted it as such at the beginning when we rolled out actually the Innovation Web Portal and then the VLab. But as Greg has pointed out, it obviously has not caught on. So it would be good to get we just had the Sudo conference, and so maybe this is kind of directed to John Ice and other Sioux out there in the Sioux community, whether or not we need to, sort of take this off or at least put it on the back burner. I suspect if we would take it off the main page, it would virtually get no traffic whatsoever. But it's possible that it's just all we need to do is promote it, and it could take off. So I guess we're sort of on the fence and looking for ideas from people whether or not it's something we should give it another chance, roll it out again the second time, or is it something that really its time has passed and we should look more to, the WDTD and their efforts is the main way we want to approach that sort of thing. So just a bit of background.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Anyone have any other questions about the You Make the Call stuff? I'll look for raised hands. And Jim, feel free to chime in if you want to about this. You're unmuted. Otherwise, Daniel had a follow-up question about the personal blog, and he asked if an admin could subscribe folks to the blog. I don't have an answer to that, so let me pass that out to Tatiana. Do you know if the admin of a particular community or admin of the VLab can subscribe people to personal blogs? Or Ken, do you have an answer to that either?
No, I don't believe that that's an option.
Okay.
So the individuals would have to do it themselves.
So it's an opt-in type of thing. So
that's correct. Yeah, and so if that is if there is a desire for that, then we could look into the feasibility of it, and that's kind of what that's tied in with the automated being able to say when someone joins a community, have them automatically be subscribed to things.
Daniel asks, can this be made as an option for the group administrator?
You're talking about the community administrator when he says group? Is that?
I believe so. Daniel, you want me to? I can go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if that's something that people want, then let us know, and we can look into making that an option. So
Yeah.
it sounds like Daniel would like it. So.
Yeah, that's what he says. So, okay. Moving on. Any other questions from the attendees? Raise your hand, and we can go ahead and unmute you. And I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking. I'll give you a few more seconds here. And it looks like no. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the meeting then. We're going to have our next meeting on October 28th, final week of October, same time as usual. Hopefully by this third meeting, I'll have all my technical issues figured out. I realized today at the beginning of the meeting that the GoToWebinar link on the calendar entry was the old link, but the link that was in the agenda was the correct link. I'll have to make sure that those are the same in both places. And then the other thing is that the VLab has been around for several years now, and since the Sue-Doe meeting has occurred, there is going to, I predict there'll be somewhat of a resurgence of new folks coming into the VLab, or folks that have joined the VLab in the past coming back, starting to look for stuff again as we become more active on there. So what we're going to start doing, at least for the next project community owners meeting, we're going to have a significant portion of the meeting devoted to training session. So we're thinking of doing just a basic introduction to using the VLab for the next meeting. So there'll be more information about that, of course, in a few weeks or so when the agenda goes out. So, and the other thing is that if anybody has any kind of concern or subject matter they'd like to see discussed or demoed or whatever at these meetings, just contact me privately, and we can get you on the agenda for future meetings. So I'm scanning through. I don't see any more hands raised. I don't see any questions sitting there. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to you all, and we will talk to you again in about 4 weeks. So take care, everyone.